Live from Innovation Park on the campus of Penn State University, this is PSN News. It's Tuesday, March 23rd. Tonight, we'll tell you all you need to know about the Atlanta spa shootings, as well as the adjustments in COVID guidelines for schools across the country.
We also have an update on in-person graduation for Penn State's class of 2021, along with entertainment, sports, and weather.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Anjelica Singer.
And I'm Ben Russell.
After having to resort to a virtual graduation for the class of 2020, Penn State will now be holding an in-person commencement ceremony for the class of 2021 this May. Beaver Stadium will host University Park and World Campus commencement ceremonies, rain or shine, from May 7th to the 9th. While graduates will not be able to walk across the stage, their name, degree, and major will be featured on a video board. Penn State President Eric Barron said, quote, "To be able to celebrate in person is important, and I am so pleased we will be able to gather together many of our graduates on campus and virtually to mark this important milestone for the class of 2021, end quote. Barron said the in-person graduation is made possible due to the rise of COVID-19 vaccinations and guidelines in the state guidelines. Each graduate will be limited to 2 tickets for guests. Virtual live streaming options will also be available for students, friends, and family who are unable to attend. TEDx PSU recently held its 11th annual conference featuring the year's theme, Time to Pause. Our field reporter Emily Grill spoke with Michael Matoli, one of the featured speakers, about his experience being an orientation leader during a pandemic. Take a look.
On Saturday, March 6th, TEDx PSU pre-recorded its Time to Pause presentation at the Schwab Auditorium. Sophomore Michael Matoli spoke at this event about his experience being a virtual orientation leader during a pandemic. What do you think you gained most out of that whole experience?
I think from a leadership perspective, I learned that in any meeting or any room you walk into, people really are coming in with a whole variety of different circumstances they're facing and troubles and hardships. Because in my orientation, I would always take time to ask my students, hey, how are things going? It was so shocking how whenever I would ask that simple question, students would produce some of the most moving stories, and they're facing really real things and they're waiting for somebody to ask about it. But I think a lot of times we don't. Make sure to slow down for people, because just like I'm facing real things, so are they. And it can be life-changing to draw attention to that and really encourage someone in what they're going through.
Yeah, and that's so important, especially right now, because people have been isolated for so long and so they haven't really gotten to talk to people outside of people who they live with. So it's kind of important that they know that other people, are there for them, and that people care besides the people you immediately associate yourself with.
I've now learned how to notice the more mundane things about a person. Like maybe it's the way that they dress or something that they always talk about, that maybe their passion or their interest. I've learned how to notice those things and then ask questions about it. And I found that it helps me connect with those people better.
Matoli's presentation opened a new light on how we can communicate with others better during a pandemic. For Penn State Network News, I'm Emily Grill.
A Center County contractor has pleaded guilty to stealing his employees' wages over the last 5 years and will be ordered to pay back $64,157 in restitution. Scott Good, the owner of Goodco Mechanical Incorporated, was charged in 2019 and pleaded guilty to 5 counts of theft after not making the required disposition of payments. He was charged after a 21-month-long investigation that was prompted on a $16 million public works project in Clearfield County for the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation back in 2014. Attorney General Josh Shapiro said that this kind of theft undercuts businesses and that thousands of people will be getting much less money than what they are owed. The legal counsel for Goods stated that while they disagreed with many of the charges, they were willing to cooperate moving forward and are working to ensure that Goods Company stays in business.
Over the past 2 days, Centre County has reported 75 new COVID-19 cases. There were 61 cases on Sunday and 14 on Monday, adding to the state total of 13,749. 202 additional negative tests were also reported in the county, and there were no new deaths, keeping the total at 213. As of Monday morning, Mount Nittany Medical Center is treating 19 COVID-19 patients, with ages ranging from 44 to 90. At least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine has been administered to 38,149 people in Centre County. Of that number, 23,425 people are fully vaccinated.
Penn State's annual blue-white spring football game will look and feel a lot different this year. The university will only allow freshman students and friends and family of the players, coaches, and other staff members to attend Beaver Stadium to watch the game. Another change to this year's game is that it will not be televised. Allowing spectators into the blue-white game is a part of the university's plan to begin expanding in-person activities and experiences on campus. Athletic Director Sandy Barber said that the main factor in this decision was allowing freshman students to get a taste of the Penn State football experience that they've missed out on this year, and that the main focus at hand is the health and safety of the community. The university also remains hopeful that Beaver Stadium will have a full capacity crowd for the first home football game against Ball State on September 11th. Eligible students can be on the outlook for more details on how to secure their tickets for the blue-white game.
Coming up next, Tusha Fam will bring you the latest in entertainment after this week's weather report.
From the students of Penn State Meteorology, here is your Penn State Campus Weather Service forecast.
Hello everyone, I'm student meteorologist Jacob Morris here with your PSN News weather update. We're looking at a more active weather pattern as we go into the latter portion of our week to kind of end this really nice stretch of mild and calm weather that we've had over the past couple of days, and that's what the weather headlines will show you. This quiet stretch of weather that we've had will end with a more active weather pattern, some storm systems entering our picture with some chances of some rain as we go into the second half of our week and into the weekend. But the good news is that our temperatures will remain above average throughout the next 6 or 7 days before temperatures get cooler to start next week. There you can see that on the 7-day temperature trend, staying into the 50s over the next couple of days, into the 60s by Thursday and Friday, could flirt with that 70-degree mark for the first time in 2021. Back down into the 50s, but still above average for this time of year for the weekend, before we finally dip below average by the beginning of next week. You can see that on our upper air pattern, and remember, this gives us a sense of where temperatures will be above average with the yellows, reds, and oranges, and below average in those greens and blues. And you can see this very persistent ridge in the upper levels of the atmosphere. This ridge will stay over the eastern part of the United States, supplying us with this very mild air mass as we go throughout the rest of the week and into the weekend. It's not until we get into the beginning of next week when that ridge breaks down and we get into the cooler temperatures for Monday and Tuesday of next week. This is how it will play out in terms of cloud cover and precipitation using future weather. Today was a cloudier day than it was yesterday, and those clouds will stick around as we go into the overnight hours tonight. Some showers enter the picture to start your day on Wednesday. It won't be a complete washout for the middle of your work week, but there will be a couple of scattered showers in our area throughout the day on Wednesday. Thursday looks to be a break in the action with a mixture of clouds and sunshine, but then more substantial rain enters the picture Thursday night. We could see a good batch of rain Thursday night and into the morning hours on Friday. Still some uncertainty as to the exact timing of that system, but there's a lot more confidence in a nice day on Saturday. So the first half of your weekend will be great to do any outdoor activities. And then on Sunday, another storm system approaches our area, and we could see some periods of moderate rain, especially by the afternoon hours on Sunday. And this system will finally usher in a cooler air mass behind it. You can see even some snow showers possible up in northwestern PA on Monday morning. So breaking it down into the forecast for you, tonight A low of 44 degrees, mostly cloudy with the possibility of a light shower late in the overnight hours, and that'll lead to some scattered showers throughout the day tomorrow, reaching a high of 56 degrees, about 10 degrees above average for this time of year. Those winds out of the south keeping temperatures pretty mild for this time of year, and that'll continue into Thursday. Another very mild day, high of 68 degrees with mostly cloudy skies. Some showers likely Thursday night and into Friday morning. But then a nice day for Saturday. Still mild temperatures, 58 for the high with sunny skies. Sunday looks to be a wetter day with showers, especially in the afternoon hours, and then it'll lead over to some lingering showers on Monday. High of only 46 for the beginning of next work week, but we'll be warming back up pretty quickly. High of 53 degrees expected for next Tuesday. For the Penn State Campus Weather Service, I'm student meteorologist Jacob Morris. Have yourselves a great day.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Tisha Pham with your entertainment update. After nearly 3 years since it was installed on the Palmer Museum of Art's Curtin Road Plaza, it is finally time to say goodbye to a major sculpture you might be familiar with. Penn State's Palmer Museum announced on Monday that George Rickley's sculpture, Breaking Column 3, is being taken down. The stainless steel sculpture was installed on November 27, 2018, and was more than 25 feet tall. It was on loan from a private collection and was initially meant to be on display only until November 2019. The announcement was posted via Instagram. However, it did not reveal a reason for its removal. Geez, for a sculpture that never stood still, I was pretty moved by its beauty. March is International Women's Month. Penn State organization Days for Girls focuses on period poverty and helps create menstrual kits for women in need. Field reporter Rachel Suga spoke with Jess Straight, president of the organization, about their work. Take a look.
With March being Women's History Month, period poverty has been a topic that has not made a headline in quite some time, despite affecting people who menstruate all over the world. Days for Girls is an international profit that helps menstruators who could not otherwise afford menstruation products by giving them reusable, sustainable kits of pads. Penn Stater Jess Straight is passionate about helping people have access to period products so they do not have to miss school or anything else in life due to their cycle.
So we are one of the collegiate clubs of Days for Girls International, which generally works to sew and distribute reusable menstrual health kits all over the world. That we've moved more into the advocacy space where we've really said, this is what we're doing. Like, we're fighting period poverty. That's what the money's going to. That's what we're about. So I guess while everything we did has always been for Days for Girls and making those menstrual health kits, the way that we talk about it has changed a lot.
In the past, Days for Girls handed out cups and pads on Penn State's campus, starting their mission locally while also sending their products overseas.
The Center for Sexual and Gender Diversity and Days for Girls have collaborated on campus in order to bring support to not just women, but all people who experience their period.
Our first year, we actually sent 120 kits to Tanzania on a study abroad trip through Schreier. As an org, we didn't start using the word menstruator until this year. And so when the executive board kind of adopted it, we felt like we wanted, right now our executive board is all cis women. So we wanted to have someone who had that experience to understand why it's important to come in and present to us.
Reporting from State College for PSN News, I'm Rachel Suga.
If you're interested in networking with Penn State alums, it sounds like Penn State's 5th annual Startup Week is just for you. The event started on Monday, March 22nd, and although this year's event is virtual, students still have an opportunity to connect with successful alumni, showcase their skills for future employers, and gain access to unique entrepreneurship resources. Students can hear from several keynote speakers and panelists throughout the week. There will also be panels hosted by alumni for students and faculty who are interested in learning about a variety of topics. All Penn State students are invited to attend. More information and the complete schedule of events can be found on Startup Week's website. Who knows, maybe you could be the next big thing. Internet personality and YouTuber David Dobrik is in some hot water. Dobrik began vlogging on YouTube in 2015. His videos featured comedic skits with his friends, also known as the Vlog Squad. Dobrik has been the center of various accusations of misconduct and exploitation against members of the Vlog Squad that allegedly took place during a video shoot. In late February, a former Vlog Squad member, Joseph, otherwise known as Seth Francois, claimed that he was sexually assaulted in one of Dobrik's vlogs. Additionally, former member Nick Kaswani, who suffers from a rare form of dwarfism, and is blind in his left eye, felt like he was often mistreated and, quote, felt worthless being in those videos, end quote. Following the allegations, several brands have cut ties with Dobrik, including DoorDash, Dollar Shave Club, and EA Sports. Dobrik responded to the allegations and directly apologized to Francois in a video posted to YouTube last Tuesday. Like, comment, and subscribe. Sorry, maybe not this time. That was your entertainment update. Stay tuned because after the break, Carlos Garcia will bring you the latest from the world of sports.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Carlos Garcia with your sports update. The men's wrestling team competed in the national tournament this past weekend, where 4 champs were crowned. Senior Nick Lee, junior Roman Bravo Young, sophomore Aaron Brooks, and freshman Carter Staroki each accomplished one of their season goals and stood atop the podium. In doing so, they join and increase this prestigious list of past Penn State national champions to 34 individuals, with 51 championship placements among them. One of Coach Cale Sanderson's more famous quotes around the program is, quote, "We're not recruiting D1 starters, we're recruiting national champions," end quote. The data agrees with him. Since taking over in 2010, Coach Cale Sanderson has coached his team to 39 individual placements at the national stage. Congratulations to the players and the coaches on a great end to the season. Newly hired men's basketball coach Micah Shrewsbury arrived on campus this week after his former squad Purdue was eliminated from the NCAA tournament. The new coach and his family delivered a message to Lions fans on the plane ride to State College, while the scoreboards at Beaver Stadium welcomed the new coach to Penn State. Shrewsbury comes to Penn State after 2 seasons as the associate head coach at Purdue under head coach Matt Painter. Shrewsbury was set to remain with the Boilermakers through the NCAA tournament run, which had the potential to stretch into a couple weeks, but number 4 seed Purdue was upset by number 13 seed North Texas on Friday night. Shrewsbury faces a difficult task at Penn State in taking over a program that hasn't made the NCAA tournament since 2011, though the 2019-2020 team was poised to return to the tournament before the coronavirus pandemic led to the cancellation of the postseason. After last year's tournament was canceled due to COVID-19, March Madness has finally returned. After 2 rounds of action, the Sweet 16 round is upon us. There were many great moments from the first 2 rounds, including upsets of number 2 seed Ohio State, number 1 seed Illinois, and number 3 seed Texas. In a year full of the unknown, and with 0 perfect brackets remaining in ESPN's Bracket Challenge, fans are left wondering if this was the year of the upset. With the competition heating up and teams getting knocked out, there are still plenty of great games left in the bracket. After the departure of some of the top squads in the nation, Gonzaga and Baylor are the frontrunners to hoist the trophy at the end of the tournament. That was your sports update. This week, our interview anchor Claire Vokey spoke with Mary Rose Valentine, a member of the production team for Romeo and Juliet, the radio play.
Hi, everybody. So this week I am here with Mary Rose Valentine, who is on the production team for Romeo and Juliet, the radio play. How are you today, Mary Rose?
I'm very good. How are you?
Great. I'm doing well.
Good.
So tell me a little bit about your role in the School of Theater.
So I am in the theater studies major, which is a non-performance major, but it's also not a design and tech major. It's we do the umbrella term is original works, but that covers dramaturgy, which is like researching and you kind of represent the play itself in the rehearsal room when you're a dramaturg. We focus on directing, playwriting, and devising, which is when you put a piece together from scratch by just doing stuff and seeing what feels good and experimenting. It's really cool.
That sounds awesome. So I know you're part of the show Romeo and Juliet, which is a virtual show. So what does that look like during COVID, and how is it different from in-person shows that you've done in the past?
Yeah, so Romeo and Juliet is a radio play, which is a really interesting process to work with, because, well, for one thing, with live theater, you don't get multiple takes, except you absolutely do in Romeo and Juliet because it's recorded. So if we don't like something, we can do it again. And because it's audio only, the acting is a lot different. The voice coach has even more to do than normal. And we can do some physical acting in the recording booths, or like 1/3 of the cast is on Zoom only, approximately. So you do some physical acting to make sure your voice sounds good, but it's not like blocking in the terms of like a normal production where you go here when you say this, you go here when you say this. It's really cool that we can do this kind of hybrid in person and online. Some of the actors didn't come to State College this semester for safety reasons, which, you know, I'm happy for them to stay safe, and I'm so glad they get to be a part of this. We get on Zoom and we get on our voice recording program, and then the students who are in State College and can come in person come to the downtown theater where we have a 6 recording booth show set up, and we do scenes. It's really awesome.
That sounds great. Yeah, I was going to ask you, you know, so have you been on the production team for other shows in the past? And has your role been more difficult this year, you know, with COVID and everything?
Yeah, the dramaturg is, especially later in the process, once the table work, like the really deep work with the script is done, the dramaturg is kind of in charge of like getting the community excited about the show, like a lot of publicity and stuff. So when I was working on Spam a Lot, which never actually did get to be performed, that was spring semester last year, I like went out and talked to the Monty Python Society on campus, and we planned a lot of stuff to like do in the lobby to like set the mood. That can't happen for so many reasons for this production, so I've made a website instead. I have it's been, because it's Shakespeare, it is much more, I have to do a lot more research into the text itself and the background and everything. So it's not been anything I haven't done before, but it's been more focus in different places, if that makes sense.
What are some other shows that the School of Theater is working on right now?
Yeah, we're doing a lot. They were doing, I think filming may have wrapped, but A Chorus Line, which is a fantastic musical that's kind of a staple of the Broadway canon. We're doing Seawall, the last 5 years. I'm so excited for the last 5 years. And eventually in April, we're going to be doing the dance concert, which is actually going to be an in-person show. I am in one of the pieces for that, and rehearsals are socially distanced but in person, and eventually it's going to take place outside the School of Theater, and the dance will happen in the lobby because there's a bunch of like big glass windows there, and then the audience will be seated outside, socially distanced, looking into the building to watch the production. So I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, so since there's already an in-person show planned, do you think the School of Theater will be able to have more in-person shows next year? What do you think the fall looks like?
So I'm assistant director on Midsummer, which is going to be our final show of the fall semester next year, and A Midsummer Night's Dream. I should not abbreviate that one. And we're planning on having it in person and unmasked because we are optimistic about the public health situation. So if things need to change, they need to change. Safety is the #1 priority. But we're optimistic with vaccination schedules and the way that things have been handled so far. We're hoping that we'll be able to have a normal season next year, especially because offering us an entire year of bizarre virtual shows is less than we want to aim for the training for the students in the program, and not great for resumes if a little bit mercenary, but part of this is resume building for when we're out in the workforce. So we have a lot to think about, but we're optimistic.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Mary Rose, for your time. I really, really appreciate it. And
Thank you.
We're looking forward to the next show. That sounds great. And yeah, I'm Claire Vokey reporting for PSN News.
Authorities have now identified all 8 people who were killed last week in the 3 Atlanta area spa shootings. Those victims were Hung Jung Grant, Zhaoji Tan, Delania Ashley Yon, Paul Andre Michaels, Young A Yu, Sancha Kim, Soon Chung Park, and Dae Yu Feng. Police are investigating if the victims were targeted as a hate crime, as 6 of the 8 victims were women of Asian descent and 4 of them were of Korean ethnicity. The shooting happened amid a wave of attacks against Asian Americans fueled by racist rhetoric during the COVID-19 pandemic. The 21-year-old suspect, Robert Aaron Long, claimed his motive for the attack was his sexual addiction. Long said he would frequently visit the spas to eliminate temptation. But Grace Cow, an Asian American Studies expert and sociology department chair at Yale University, said it is hard to separate race from these killings.
The CDC has begun the process of loosening COVID-19 guidelines in schools across the country. It was announced on Friday that students will now only need to maintain a distance of 3 feet apart from one another, which is lesser than the 6 feet social distancing guideline that was originally implemented when COVID-19 first struck the country last March. This change will make it significantly easier and more realistic for students across the country to return to in-person learning in classrooms full-time. President Joe Biden also promised to keep schools across the country open for 5 days a week. The new guidelines still encourage those to maintain a 6 feet distance from those not wearing masks while exercising, eating, singing, or shouting. Teachers and students are still encouraged to stay 6 feet apart from each other, but this is no longer being enforced going forward. The 320 Coalition in State College recently held a die-in protest in honor of Osaze Osagi's death and the resignation of 3 borough officials. Field reporter Carly Knowlton has more on the story.
About 12 members of the advocacy group formed in the aftermath of the fatal police shooting of Osaze Osagi laid on the plaza outside of the State College Municipal Building on Friday afternoon, participating in a die-in protest for the resignation of 3 borough officials. On March 20th, 2019, one of the 3 State College officers went to Osagi's apartment for a mental health warrant and shot and killed the 29-year-old because Osagi charged at them with a knife in a narrow hallway in the basement. The Sounder County District Attorney cleared the officers because they said that they were in a life or death situation with Osagi. The 3 officials hid key information about the investigation regarding who was involved.
I got a chance to speak with Tiara Williams, a co-chair for the 320 Coalition, about the impact of Osagi's death.
It's heartbreaking because I don't understand how 2 minutes can be considered de-escalation, right? I don't understand why you didn't call the parents. I don't understand a lot of these things.
The borough had outside agencies conduct the investigation and also held post-incident meetings, answered questions, and made reports available on websites. The former officer who shot Osagi was allegedly unfit for duty and was an excessive drinker and participated in domestic abuse. According to this complaint, this officer entered rehab and returned to work days before the shooting.
I also got the chance to ask what she hopes to change through this protest.
What does justice look like in an entirely unjust system?
Yeah.
So my hope is to break down all of the systematic racism that dwells within these local systems, as well as these national government organizations, to break it down. Like, a lot of these things have to be rewritten.
10 days of action included online and in-person events. There was a protest and march last Friday, a festival on Saturday, and there was a healing circle on Sunday. Let's hope that this brings a change to State College and also gives Osagi's friends and family closure. For PSN News, this is Carly Knowlton.
In the past 7 days, the national number of COVID-19 positive cases have decreased 78.7% compared to the country's highest peak on January 11th. 53,200 cases were reported this past week. On March 17th, there was a 3% decrease in the 7-day average number of daily cases reported compared to the prior week. 11.5 million vaccine doses have also been administered since March 18th. 22% of the U.S. population have now received at least 1 dose. Moderna Incorporation, one of the leading manufacturers of the vaccine for COVID-19, announced that the first participants of the Phase 2-3 study, which focuses primarily on younger children, have been dosed with the COVID-19 vaccine. There were approximately 6,750 recipients of this vaccine between the ages of 6 months and 12 years old. A study will be conducted to figure out which dose should be used in Part 2 of this trial. For more information on the trial, visit www.kid-cove-study.com.
Tragic news out of Boulder, Colorado last night as a mass shooting at a grocery store left 10 people dead, including one police officer. Eric Talley was the first officer to get to the scene of the shooting, which took place at King's Supers, a local grocery store in Boulder, and his actions were deemed heroic by his colleagues. A man with blood dripping down his leg was seen dragged out of the store in handcuffs by police officers, but it is unknown if he is the suspect in custody. The Colorado men's basketball team played with heavy hearts and a lot of emotion in their NCAA tournament game last night, a loss to Florida State. Head coach Tad Boyle said that the team played with heavy hearts during the game. Our thoughts and prayers go out to all of those affected by these tragic events.
And that's all tonight for PSN News.
Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Facebook at PSN News, on Instagram at Penn State Network News, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/PSN News.
Have a good night and stay safe, Penn State.